The sun rises like a spotlight over the East African savannah, golden, blazing, dramatic. A lion yawns, a vulture circles overhead, and somewhere beneath an acacia tree, the real rulers of this dusty kingdom begin to stir. Not lions, not leopards, baboons. They grunt, stretch, scratch their behinds unapologetically. And then, like clockwork, the syndicate awakens. This isn't just a family of primates. It's a full-blown social machine, organized like a criminal cartel with layers of power, strategy, and yes, backstabbing. Welcome to the world of Papio, the baboon. Think of them as the mafia of the wild, but with more fur and less mercy. They don't just live in the savannah, they run it with an iron grip and a poker face. Each troop is a sprawling urban jungle on 4 legs, sometimes numbering over 150 members. There are clear rules, a strict hierarchy, chain of command, and absolutely no room for weakness. At the top of this hairy food chain sits the alpha male, the Don. Muscles like boulders, teeth like daggers, and a scowl that could stop a cheetah mid-pounce. He's not just the biggest and baddest, he's the ruler, the breeder, the decision-maker, and the primary target for anyone with ambition. But his throne is shaky. Power here doesn't come with a crown, it comes with constant paranoia. The moment he shows a limp or loses a fight, the whispers begin. Younger males start puffing their chests, grooming alliances start shifting, and betrayal is always just a tail length away. Behind the alpha is a web of chaos in disguise. Subordinates plot and posture. Females, the real puppet masters, whisper allegiances while grooming rivals. If the alpha is the face of power, the females are the silent kingmakers. Because in baboon society, a clever female can topple empires with nothing but a well-timed snub or a redirected grooming session. And grooming? Oh, that's not just hygiene, it's currency. Need support? Groom a higher up. Want protection for your baby? Groom a powerful male. Got into trouble raiding a farmer's mango stash? Groom the guy who saw you. In this world, a scratch behind the ear is worth more than gold. But there's a rhythm to this madness. When the troop moves, it moves like a well-oiled organism. Scouts go ahead to sniff out danger. Young males flank the sides, ever watchful for leopards in the tall grass. Mothers with babies ride in the heart of the group like guarded VIPs. And the rear? That's where the older males hang. Part defense, part, I'm too tired for this squad. Their day begins with a military-grade exodus from their sleeping cliffs. They descend with surprising grace, shaking off the dust and heading straight for business. Foraging, stealing, bickering, and asserting dominance. It's a daily grind, and every baboon knows their role. They forage on fruits, leaves, seeds, insects, but they're not above a little crime. Leave a backpack unzipped in baboon country, and it's a miracle if you ever see your lunch again. These guys are professional thieves. They've mastered the art of sneaking into villages, snatching snacks and making a clean getaway, all while laughing in your face, literally. But even with their comedic mischief and soap opera dramas, baboons are brilliant survivors. Their intelligence is on full display, using rocks to crack nuts, teaming up to fend off predators, and manipulating one another like political pros. And make no mistake, they're not pushovers. A baboon can and will face down a predator. Leopards know to tread carefully. Even lions hesitate before tangling with a large, angry troop. A single baboon? Vulnerable. But a troop? That's a storm. Their babies are precious but also political. Males will often kidnap infants, not to harm them, but to use them as living shields. A male holding a baby is far less likely to be attacked by others. It's dirty, it's manipulative, and it works. Survival by any means. At night, the savannah cools, and the syndicate retreats to its rocky fortress, high cliffs where predators dare not follow. They huddle together for warmth, mothers holding their babies close, guards posted, everyone nestled in a pile of trust, tension, and tomorrow's plotting. The camera pans back, showing the glowing savannah under a violet sky, the distant echoes of the night shift beginning, hyenas laughing, owls swooping, lions on the prowl. But the baboons, they sleep like kings. Because tomorrow, the game begins again. New power plays, new betrayals, new alliances. In this kingdom without thrones, where loyalty is fragile and survival is a performance, the baboons reign not with claws or roars, but with cleverness, charisma, and calculated chaos. The Savannah Syndicate is alive and well, and its drama has only just begun. Power is a drug, and in baboon society, the high comes with a price. For the alpha male, it's lonely at the top, because everyone else wants you to fall. He doesn't sleep much, can't afford to. One eye on the troop, the other on his rivals. Every scratch of fur could be a coded message. Every grunt, a threat wrapped in small talk. Being alpha isn't about living the good life, it's about surviving the throne. When he struts through the troop, tail high, chest out, others move. He gets the best shade, the freshest fruit, and exclusive rights to mate. But he also gets the target painted on his back, bold and permanent. Because for every alpha there are 5, maybe 10 others licking their canines, waiting for him to slip, to age, to limp, to blink too slow. His rule is built on 3 things: muscle, menace, and manipulation. First, the muscle. Alphas win their place through brutal combat. These aren't friendly wrestling matches. They're tooth and claw brawls, fast, loud, and full of dirty tricks. The winner doesn't just beat the loser. He breaks his spirit in front of the entire troop. Public humiliation? Part of the package. But muscle only gets you so far. An alpha who rules by brute force alone is like a dictator with no allies. Powerful, but short-lived. The smart ones learn to play the crowd. They groom key females. Tolerate the annoying but popular males. Maybe even babysit a kid or two, just to show the softer side. It's all about appearances. The illusion of peace while keeping your enemies close enough to watch, but not close enough to plot. Now here's where it gets messy. Friendships among rivals. Younger males form coalitions, whispering under trees, grooming each other like besties at a spa day. But don't be fooled. Those alliances, they're weapons. A well-timed double-cross, a joint ambush, and suddenly the alpha is surrounded by ex-friends with fists full of rage. And it only takes one misstep. An injured foot, a slow reaction. The troop senses it like blood in the water. A challenger makes his move, muscles tense, eyes locked. The troop stops. Even the babies freeze. This is a coup in progress. The fight erupts, dust flying, bodies slamming, screaming like a rock concert in hell. Sometimes it ends in seconds. Other times it's a drawn-out brawl where fur, teeth, and pride are left on the battlefield. If the alpha wins, he re-establishes dominance. He screams his victory, chases the loser off, grooms a female in public just to rub it in. But if he loses, it's exile. No retirement plan, no pension. He goes from king to nobody overnight. The new alpha steps in, roaring with triumph, eyes scanning for his first mate, often claiming the former ruler's favorite female as a symbol of total takeover. The message is clear: new regime, new rules. But even then, the cycle doesn't stop. Because guess what? The new alpha just inherited the same curse. Every male in the troop is now watching him, and the most dangerous one is probably already grooming someone in the shadows. In the Savannah Syndicate, being alpha means you've won the battle, but stepped into the war. A 24/7 game of dominance, strategy, and survival. It's not about being the strongest forever. It's about outsmarting everyone long enough to keep the crown. Until the next betrayal. In the Savannah Syndicate, there is one unwritten rule that even the fiercest alpha males don't dare cross lightly. Don't mess with a baboon mom. Because behind every screaming fight, shifting alliance, or surprise coup, there's often a female pulling the strings. And she's probably holding a baby while doing it. To the untrained eye, baboon society looks like a boys' club. Roaring males puffing their chests, chasing each other around like gladiators with fur. But look closer, and you'll see a different kind of power. Quiet, constant, and incredibly strategic. It lies in the mothers, and not just because they're raising the next generation. In baboon society, mothers are political players, social architects, and sometimes the real bosses of the troop. When a baboon female gives birth, she becomes more than just a mum. She becomes a unit of influence. Her baby isn't just a bundle of joy, it's a social passport, a shield, a bargaining chip, and sometimes a weapon. From day one, the baby clings to her fur like a little parasite with a huge attitude. These infants are loud, demanding, and absolutely adorable, which in baboon terms makes them incredibly valuable. Males often go out of their way to groom a mother with a baby. Not because they care, though some do, but because it wins points. It's the baboon version of liking someone's baby photo on Instagram. Only here it might get you back up in a fight. In fact, males will sometimes carry babies into battles. It sounds insane, but it's genius. Holding an infant reduces the risk of being attacked by other males, because no one wants to be that guy who hurts a baby. Even in the chaos of a full-blown turf war, an infant is a get-out-of-jail-free card. And the mothers, they know this. Oh, they use this. A high-ranking female might offer her baby to a favored male to strengthen a bond. A lower-ranking mum might parade her infant in front of a powerful male to secure protection. It's not maternal bonding, it's pure strategy. But it's not all politics. Baboon motherhood is also fierce, raw, and heartbreakingly tender. Mothers defend their infants like lions, screaming, biting, and lunging at anything that dares come close. Jackals, eagles, snakes, even rival baboons, they don't stand a chance if mum's in range. And if the unthinkable happens, if a baby is lost to a predator, the mother often carries the body for days, walking, grooming, refusing to let go. A visible, painful display of grief that scientists still struggle to explain. Yet despite the emotion, motherhood is also brutally practical. If a female can't protect her baby, her value in the social system drops. Harsh but true. Success as a mother means status, and status means survival. That's why baboon mums form alliances with other moms. They groom each other, help babysit, warn of danger. These tight-knit cliques create female power blocks, and together they wield more influence than any lone alpha ever could. And then there's the matter of rank. Baboons don't start at zero. You're born into your mother's status. If she's high-ranking, you are too. That means access to food, safety, and better chances at everything from grooming to mating. It's the ultimate case of primate privilege. But here's the twist. Rank isn't permanent. It can rise. It can fall. And it often hinges on how smart a mother is, how well she navigates the minefield of baboon politics, who she allies with, and how fiercely she protects her offspring. Because in this society, being a good mum isn't about cuddles and lullabies. It's about reading the room, managing threats, and making sure your kid not only survives, but climbs the ladder. And while the males may roar the loudest, the troop moves when the mothers do. They know where to forage, when to flee, and who's been acting a little too ambitious lately. Their instincts are razor sharp, their memories long, and their patience endless. Unless you mess with their baby, then all bets are off. As the day winds down, the troop settles into the cliffs again. Babies curl into their mother's arms. The alphas grunt. The lower ranks take their places. But in the quiet, just beneath the surface, the real power pulses. In every mother's gaze, every grooming hand, every whispered alliance. Because in the Savannah Syndicate, the code is simple. Strength may lead for a moment, but motherhood rules forever. They move like shadows across the savannah, silent, alone, unwelcome. These aren't just wanderers. These are the exiles, the rogue males, former princes turned outlaws, banished from the safety of their troop, forced into the harsh world with nothing but their wits, their teeth, and a burning hunger for a second chance at power. Welcome to the dark side of baboon society. You see, every male baboon hits a point in his life, usually around puberty, when he gets the look. Older males glare. Females avoid. Even the babies seem suspicious. Suddenly the troop starts to feel a little too small, a little too cold. He's growing stronger, bolder, and that makes him dangerous. So the decision is made, not by vote, but by pressure. A few aggressive shoves, an escalating fight, and eventually he's chased off. No hugs, no farewell party. Just a cloud of dust and the savannah stretching endlessly ahead. Exile. For most species, exile means death, but baboons, they're made of harder stuff. These rogue males enter a brutal new phase, the nomad's life. They travel solo or form bachelor gangs, ragtag crews of outcast males who've got nothing left to lose and everything to prove. They sleep rough, dodge predators alone, and feed wherever they can. Sometimes on scraps, sometimes on stolen goods, sometimes straight out of human garbage bins. Yes, your sandwich might have a story now. But these aren't just survivors, they're strategists, and they've got revenge on the brain. Their goal? Infiltrate a new troop. Not with brute force, not yet. First comes the soft approach. A rogue male might hang at the edges just within sight. He watches, waits, learns the troop's rhythms, who leads, who follows, who fights, and who's ready to bolt. Then slowly he makes his move. It might start with grooming an elderly female, then playing nice with the juveniles. He might shadow the troop for weeks, sometimes even months, building trust one scratch at a time. But don't let the patience fool you. Behind those calm eyes is a ticking time bomb. Because when the moment's right, when the alpha is distracted, wounded, or just too full of himself, the rogue strikes. Sometimes it's a direct challenge. Sometimes it's sneakier, undermining alliances, courting females in secret, stirring whispers in the ranks. And just like that, the troop's power structure begins to crack. The rogue's best weapon? Female loyalty. If he can win over just a few influential mothers, the tide turns. The alpha finds himself outnumbered, isolated. Then, the coup. Dust explodes, canines flash, war cries echo through the trees. It's not just a fight, it's a revolution. Sometimes the rogue wins. Sometimes he gets beaten within inches of his life and banished again. But if he wins, oh, now he wears the crown, from exile to emperor. It's the ultimate underdog story, if the underdog also bites your face off on the way up. But not every rogue plays nice. Some go full bandit mode, raiding troops, kidnapping infants, stirring chaos for the thrill of it. These males don't want to rule, they want to punish. Some have been betrayed. Some have tasted power and lost it. Some are just wired wrong. These are the wild cards, the desperados, and they bring with them the harshest law of all, jungle justice. Because if a rogue pushes too far, hurts a female, kills a baby, disrupts the order too violently, the troop fights back. Not just one baboon, but all of them. Males, females, even juveniles. It's rare. But when it happens, it's biblical. An outcast, once feared, now turned into prey. Cornered, overwhelmed, torn down by the very society he tried to conquer. Because in baboon world, justice isn't blind, it's personal. And the punishment for pushing too far? It's death. But for every rogue who falls, another rises. Somewhere, a young male is being pushed out. Somewhere else, a bachelor gang is forming. The cycle is endless, a rotating cast of rebels and kings, betrayals and battles, revenge and redemption. They may be exiles, loners, troublemakers, but they are also the fire that keeps the baboon world alive, dangerous, and constantly evolving. Because in the Savannah Syndicate, even the outlaws have a plan. Forget bananas. If baboons had a logo, it'd be a lockpick in one hand and a stolen sandwich in the other. Because behind those mischievous eyes is a brain that never stops scheming, a machine made for problem solving, boundary breaking, and occasionally causing a full-blown village panic with nothing but a plastic bag and a plan. Baboons are not just survivors, they're engineers of chaos. And this chapter? It's about their most overlooked superpower, intelligence, with a sprinkle of delinquency. Let's start with the tools. No, they're not building huts or crafting spears yet, but baboons have been seen using rocks to crack open nuts, sticks to fish out insects, and even dragging branches to block pathways or distract rivals. One troop in South Africa was caught on camera placing rocks along a fence line to launch themselves over it. Baboon parkour in action, and that's just warm-up. Because when it comes to human interaction, baboons have gone from curious to criminally clever. Picture this, a small town near a national park. Locals know the drill. Keep the windows locked, car doors shut, food stored high. Why? Because the baboons have figured it all out. They know how to open latches, unzip bags, slide patio doors, and even recognize car brands. That's right. Some baboons know which vehicles are more likely to have snacks inside. Toyota Hilux, jackpot. Rental SUVs, probably tourists, and tourists always have chips. In one now legendary incident, a baboon gang staged what can only be described as a coordinated heist. One male acted as lookout, while two juveniles distracted park rangers. Meanwhile, the alpha slipped through a half-open window, raided a backpack, and emerged triumphantly with a peanut butter sandwich and a juice box. He even drank it. No training, no coaching, just pure evolved street smarts. Baboons are masters of what scientists call cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt, problem solve, and apply learned behavior to new challenges. But we just call it being dangerously clever. They learn from observation. A young baboon will watch an elder open a trash bin or unlock a cooler and repeat it days later with surgical precision. They've been seen teaming up to distract dogs, open cages, and even coordinate raids on farms. grabbing fruit and veggies while the farmer chases the decoy. It's Ocean's 11 but with fur. And they're not just clever, they're hilarious about it. One baboon famously climbed into a safari jeep, stole a woman's purse, dug through the contents, and flung out everything but the lipstick. Priorities. They're also quick to manipulate their own kind. A lower-ranking male might pretend to groom a female just to get closer to her food stash, only to snatch it and run. Juveniles fake distress calls just to get attention. And some even carry stolen babies to avoid punishment after a raid, because nobody hits a guy holding a baby. Classic. But with great intelligence comes great annoyance, especially if you're human. As cities expand into baboon territory, encounters are rising. Garbage dumps become buffets, houses become targets, and local people understandably get frustrated. Some fence their properties, others install baboon-proof bins. A few just give up and move. But here's the truth. Baboons are adapting faster than we are. We build fences, they find gaps. We create alarms, they learn the sound. We relocate them, they come back smarter. It's an arms race, and so far the baboons are winning, with brains, not brawn. Of course, not every baboon is a thief. Most are just trying to eat, survive, and raise their young. But when opportunity knocks, you better believe they answer, loudly, with snacks in both hands. Because in the Savannah Syndicate, cleverness isn't optional, it's currency. The troop's best problem solvers get noticed, respected, even protected. Outthink your rivals and you don't need to fight them. Outsmart the farmer and dinner is served. And so, as the sun sets over another day in the wild, a baboon sits on a rock, munching on an apple that definitely came from someone's picnic basket, staring out over the land with a look that says, "What will I steal tomorrow?" The baboons may run the troop like a kingdom, con the locals like street hustlers, and raid like little fur-coated pirates. But even the boldest syndicate has enemies. And in the African wild, the enemies don't knock, they pounce. Here, baboons walk a razor's edge between dominance and devastation. One mistake, one baby too far from its mother, one juvenile daydreaming on lookout duty, and it's over. Because this land is crawling with predators that don't care how clever you are. And the number one nightmare? The leopard. Fast, silent, and terrifyingly patient, leopards are the baboon's most persistent enemy. Unlike lions or hyenas, a leopard won't roar, it won't charge, it'll wait. Coiled in a tree, invisible in the shade, golden eyes locked on its prey like a sniper. One pounce and it's done. No second chance. Baboons who've survived a leopard attack don't forget. The scream they let out, pure, primal panic, is enough to send the entire troop scattering like leaves in a storm. But here's the twist. Sometimes the baboons don't run, they fight. If the predator's spotted in time, the troop can erupt into organized chaos. Adult males charge. Mothers shriek. Juveniles grab babies and bolt. And the alpha? He leads the counterattack. Dozens of screaming, fang-bearing baboons can mob a leopard so viciously that it gives up the hunt. Some leopards even end up dead, torn apart by teeth, fury, and raw numbers. You'd think lions would be the worst threat. And they are, if you're unlucky enough to get caught. But lions are heavy, loud, and frankly a little lazy. A healthy baboon can usually spot them in time and escape up a cliff or tree. Lions aren't climbers. Leopards, they are. Still, sometimes the lions get lucky, especially with younger or distracted troops. When that happens, it's fast, brutal, and final. A puff of dust, a scream, then silence. The troop mourns, but not for long. In baboon life, you move on, or you don't move at all. Then come the hyenas. These scavengers might look like dumb, cackling sidekicks in cartoons, but in reality, they're strategic pack hunters with jaws that can crush bone. And unlike the stealthy leopard, a hyena brings chaos. They charge into a troop like a wrecking ball, aiming to cause confusion, hoping something, anything, gets left behind. A fallen baby, a wounded adult, even stolen food is a win. Baboons hate hyenas. The feeling is mutual. But the enemies don't end there. Martial eagles, with wingspans wide enough to carry off a baboon infant, patrol the skies like silent death. Mothers keep their babies close, always watching the clouds. Just a few seconds of distraction, and it's all over. The sky snatches what the ground can't reach. Snakes, too, pose a hidden threat, especially rock pythons, which can ambush young baboons and constrict them before the alarm is even sounded. Though rare, these attacks hit hard because they feel so unfair. An enemy that slithers, waits, and suffocates. But the worst enemy, the one that's unpredictable, ruthless, and growing more dangerous every year? Humans. Farms encroach on baboon territory. Roads cut migration paths in half. Some people shoot baboons on sight for raiding crops. Others trap them, cage them, or worse, sell them in illegal trade. The cleverer baboons get, the more they clash with human life. And unlike predators that kill for food, humans kill out of frustration. But baboons are learning. They avoid areas with strong smells of metal. They recognize the sound of gun safeties clicking off. They learn the patterns of cars, fences, dogs. And when they retaliate, by raiding in bigger groups or attacking crops with surgical timing, it's not mindless revenge. It's strategy. Still they suffer. Injuries, deaths, captures. The empire bends under pressure, but somehow it doesn't break. Because while baboons might not have claws like lions or wings like eagles, they have something far more dangerous. Teamwork, memory, and a mind that never stops adapting. So the next time a leopard stalks a baboon troop, or a farmer loads a rifle near the mango trees, don't assume the baboons are victims. They're watching, they're calculating, they're already planning their next move. In the Savannah Syndicate, enemies may come and go, but the empire always survives. The sun hasn't even cracked the horizon, but the air is already thick with tension. The vultures know, the impalas know, even the wind seems to pause, because when baboon troops go to war, the savannah holds its breath. This isn't just a brawl. It's not a scuffle over fruit or a lover's quarrel gone loud. This is civil war, a clash of kingdoms, troop against troop, where every tooth and scream has a purpose. And when it happens at dawn, that's not coincidence, it's strategy. The land is cooler, vision is clear, shadows are long and enemies look closer than they are. It's the perfect hour for an ambush. At first it's subtle. One troop appears on the edge of another's territory. Maybe they're just passing through. Maybe they're scouting. Maybe they want something. A watering hole, a fruit tree grove, or worse, members of the enemy troop. Baboons don't just fight for land, they fight for minds, for mates, for loyalty. The tension escalates fast. Young males puff themselves up like furry bodybuilders. Juveniles are corralled toward the back. The alphas step forward, tails high, eyes locked. This isn't just a fight. It's a declaration of dominance. And then, one scream breaks the silence. The war begins. Dust explodes. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of baboons charge. Males crash into each other like living, battering rams. Screams pierce the air like sirens. Canines flash. Babies cry. Mothers snatch them up and flee to the treetops. It's not chaos. It's choreography. Every troop has a battle rhythm. Some flank, sending a wave from the side. Others press forward like a wall of screaming fur. The alpha might lead the charge, or he might hang back, calculating his moment. There's no referee, no rules, just a storm of bodies, brawls, and betrayals. These wars aren't always even. Sometimes a larger troop bulldozes a smaller one in minutes. Other times the underdogs fight dirty, setting traps, baiting key members away, using terrain to their advantage. And once in a while, civil war becomes personal. An exiled male might return, leading the charge against his former home. A high-ranking female may betray her troop and defect mid-fight. Baboon wars are messy, emotional, and fueled by years of stored-up grudges. And the consequences, devastating. Infants get kidnapped, taken by the victors, either as future allies or as pawns. Injured baboons are left behind, limping, bleeding, sometimes even killed. Troops don't grieve the way we do. There are no funerals, no flags lowered. Just a look, a moment of stillness, and then survival resumes. But the damage runs deeper than bodies. It shatters trust. After the battle, the losing troop must reorganize, re-establish rank, settle disputes, protect its shaken young. And the victors? They don't always walk away whole. Alphas might be wounded. Alliances might shift. Power never comes without cost. Why risk it? Why go to war? Because in the baboon world, dominance isn't inherited. It's enforced. Territory means food, mates, safety, reputation. A strong troop can expand, breed, and thrive. A weak one becomes prey. not just to predators but to other baboons. Some troops raid weekly, others go years without a fight. But when the need arises, they fight like the world depends on it. Because in their world, it does. As the sun finally rises, bloodied, battered and blinding, the battlefield calms. One troop retreats. One remains, licking wounds and rallying cries. The war is over, for now. But this isn't the last battle. In the Savannah Syndicate, peace is just a pause between conflicts. Because tomorrow, there may be another troop, another border crossed, another scream in the wind, and another civil war at dawn. In the beginning, the baboons barely noticed us. A few wandering figures in the distance, occasional fires, strange smells. No threat, just another odd creature on the edge of the savannah. But now we are everywhere. Roads slice through migration paths. Farms cover ancient foraging grounds. Plastic, steel and glass replace trees and cliffs. Where there was once wilderness, there's now a parking lot. And where a baboon used to climb, there's a window to break. Welcome to the baboon-human conflict, an escalating standoff between wild instinct and modern sprawl, between ancient survival and urban expansion. And nobody's backing down. At first it was just raiding. Baboons are smart, dangerously smart. They figured out that human settlements mean food. Trash bins, fruit stands, picnics, storefronts. And while lions chase you, humans run from you. A win-win. So they got bold. They crept into gardens, unlatched gates, rifled through groceries. They opened car doors, climbed onto roofs, even walked into houses like they owned the place. One troop in Cape Town reportedly staged daily raids on a bakery, grabbing pastries and bolting like a gang of sugar-high toddlers. Locals started locking windows, then wiring fences, then calling the police. Because what started as mischief became mayhem. Entire farms were being raided, livestock scared, children chased, tourists mugged for snacks and sunglasses. One baboon allegedly learned how to pull fire alarms, a masterclass in primate trolling. But while people laughed at first, the situation turned dark. Some communities began trapping problem baboons. Others used rubber bullets. Some used real ones. Baboons were relocated, chipped, tagged, even executed. Suddenly it wasn't just about bananas. It was a war. And the problem? Both sides are evolving. Baboons started adapting faster than the humans could adjust. They learned schedules, watched routines. They knew when the garbage trucks came, when the guard dogs slept, when the tourists left snacks on the dashboard. And if one method stopped working, they tried another. Meanwhile, people divided. Some saw baboons as pests, vermin in fur coats. Others saw victims, wild animals trying to survive in a shrinking world. Conservationists begged for coexistence. Locals wanted peace and property damage to stop. The real tragedy: there are no villains here. Humans are expanding because they need land. Baboons are raiding because they've lost theirs. Both are doing what they must to survive. But when these two worlds collide, the wild and the wired, the primal and the paved, someone always gets hurt. And yet, there's hope. In some regions, farmers have learned to plant decoy crops, foods baboons don't like, to lure them away. Others use non-lethal deterrents, like motion-activated sprinklers, fake snakes, and even recordings of leopard growls. Creative, kind, and shockingly effective. Ecotourism is also helping. Locals now profit from preserving baboon habitats instead of destroying them. Schools teach children to respect wildlife, not fear it. People are learning that coexistence isn't just possible, it's essential. Because if the baboons lose this war, we lose something too. We lose one of Earth's most intelligent, adaptable, and eerily human-like creatures. A species that mirrors us not just in biology, but in ambition, politics, and cleverness. They raid like us, scheme like us, raise families like us. They fight, mourn, rebel, like us. And if we can't make peace with that reflection in the wild, then maybe we're not as evolved as we think. So the next time a baboon unlocks a trash bin, or stares into your car window with those calculating yellow eyes, don't just see a thief. See a survivor. See the cost of progress. See the Savannah Syndicate adapting to a world it never asked for. but one it refuses to surrender. Out in the open, baboons look like a war machine, screaming, brawling, raiding, surviving. But once the sun softens, the dust settles, and the predators retreat, the troop transforms into something else entirely. A soap opera. Because beneath the barking and biting, baboons live lives filled with secrets, long-held grudges, unlikely friendships, hidden romances, scandals that would make reality TV jealous. Welcome to the private world of the Savannah Syndicate, where everyone's watching, but not everyone knows the whole story. Let's start with friendships, real ones, not the "I scratch your back, you protect me" from that leopard kind, though there's plenty of that too. Some baboons form bonds that last years. They groom each other not just for status or favors, but for comfort. They sit together even when nothing's at stake. They travel side by side. They grieve together when one of them dies. In fact, studies show that baboons with strong social bonds live longer and raise more successful offspring. Friendship isn't a luxury, it's a survival tactic. And more than that, it's emotional. They miss each other, they sulk, they make up, they even seem to forgive. But where there's love, there's also drama. Cue the love triangles, or in some cases, love hexagons. You see, female baboons choose who they mate with, not the alpha, not the biggest brute. The females, and their choices, oh boy, they shake up the entire troop. Sometimes a female flirts with a low-ranking male, causing tension. Sometimes she chooses a rogue outsider, sparking suspicion. And sometimes she'll cozy up to a male just to protect her infant, a tactical fling. But here's the kicker. Baboon mating isn't always about reproduction. It's about influence, trust, manipulation, strategy. And yes, occasionally, attraction. Once researchers followed a female who seemed loyal to her favorite partner until he fell out of power. She dropped him like a hot rock and cozied up to the new alpha within hours. Brutal, yes. But in baboon society, adapting fast keeps you and your baby alive. Then there's the emotional side no one expects. Baboons mourn. When a close friend dies, survivors have been seen isolating themselves, refusing food, or grooming the spot where they last sat together. Mothers carry their dead infants for days, even weeks, unable to let go. No food, no rest, just quiet grief as the rest of the troop moves on. These aren't accidents of instinct, these are feelings. And yes, there's also pettiness. You'll find jealous glares, stolen food just to prove a point, grooming snubs that start week-long cold wars. One female might accidentally steal another's baby just for attention. A lower-ranking male might pick a fight during nap time just to show he's still got some dignity. Baboons, like us, live in a world of invisible strings, social cues, alliances, emotional leverage. They remember betrayals. They reward loyalty. They punish disobedience with icy stares or a very targeted bite on the butt. And if you think that's dramatic, wait till you see what happens when two old rivals run into each other during mating season. Let's just say, the fur flies and the drama writes itself. But why does all this matter? Because these behaviors aren't just cute. They're proof of emotional complexity, the kind we once thought only belonged to humans and maybe dolphins. Baboons are thinking, feeling, plotting, loving, losing. Their society is rich with unspoken rules, and breaking them can cost you status, safety, or worse. But for those who navigate it well, the smart, the empathetic, the socially savvy, the rewards are immense. Protection, power, peace. So next time you see a baboon grooming its buddy, don't roll your eyes. That might be a decade-long friendship, a secret alliance, or the calm before the next betrayal. Because in the secret life of baboons, nothing is simple, and everything is personal. The savannah sleeps, for now. The wind drifts over dry grass, night insects hum like static, and the moon casts silver shadows over the cliffs, where the troop lies nestled in a tangled mess of fur, limbs, and dreams. But don't let the silence fool you, because even in sleep, the rebellion simmers. Somewhere on the outskirts, a young male stares into the dark. His fur still thin, his muscles still growing, but his eyes, sharp, watchful, hungry. He's been exiled once already, marked, bruised, forgotten. But he remembers. He remembers the alpha who humiliated him, the female who turned away, the food he wasn't allowed to touch, and deep in his chest, a spark waits. He won't be weak forever. Elsewhere, a low-ranking mother quietly grooms her infant away from the crowd. She's seen the looks. She's heard the gossip. But she's watching too, waiting for the power to shift, for a chance to align herself with the next rising star. Because in baboon society, everything is temporary. The alpha male snoring on the highest ledge, his reign is already dying. His rivals are gaining weight. His allies are restless. His mate has been grooming a younger male for days now. He doesn't see it yet, but his fall has already begun. Tomorrow, a food shortage might spark a mutiny. Next week, a rogue male might return with backup. Next month, the cliff they sleep on might be lost to a rival troop, and so the cycle turns. In this world, no throne is safe, no friendship is eternal, no enemy stays gone. Victory is always just one betrayal away from collapse. Power is a game, and the rules always changing. But that's what makes the Savannah Syndicate so powerful, so ruthless, so alive. Because rebellion isn't the exception, it's the heartbeat of baboon life, the newborn clinging to its mother's belly. One day it will fight its best friend for a scrap of authority. The exiled male watching from the trees? He may return as a king or a ghost. The troop that ruled the valley this year might be gone next year, scattered and replaced. And yet, the baboons endure. They adapt, they evolve, they learn, they rebel. Because rebellion in the baboon world is not about destruction. It's about motion. The force that keeps the troops strong, smart, and ready for whatever the wild throws next. So, as the stars fade and the first orange glow of dawn peeks over the edge of the world, the alpha stirs. He doesn't know it yet, but someone watched him sleep. Someone counted the seconds he snored. Someone is grooming the wrong female. Someone's waiting. Because in the world of baboons, there is no happily ever after. Only the next coup, the next alliance, the next rebellion, and it never ends.